Fundamentally, what is ExoSquad? And why is it worth talking about 30 plus years later? ExoSquad is essentially an American Mecha. What is Mecha, you ask? Or maybe you don't ask. I did have to ask because I wasn't really familiar with what it was before all of this. But think dudes and dudettes piloting giant robots. Or, like robotic looking things. Generally, it's much more of a thing in Japan. I mean, it's a thing here now, but when I was a kid, it was sort of a thing trickling in. Over time, that trickle has become a stream, a river, and maybe an ocean of stuff that we now have that has come over, including our own stuff, such as the aforementioned ExoSquad, which is part of our own anime, manga-inspired mecha type stuff. Well, it's not all anime and manga is mecha, but in this instance it is. As I said, over the years, plenty of stuff did surf its way across the Pacific Ocean to the shores of Huntington Beach. This video isn't about all of anime or mecha, because I am by no means an expert on those things. But you can't look at ExoSquad without touching on those things. Because without it, we probably wouldn't have ExoSquad. And frankly, that specific thing, ExoSquad, that came from all that, it's beloved by a very specific kind of narrow fan base that I'm very much a part of. We are absolutely devoted to it, but we're not a huge fan base by any means. Yet we keep asking, in an age of constant reboots and sequel series, why has ExoSquad not gotten a chance? Everything gets one. I mean, maybe the Buffy one apparently just got canceled. Hey, give ExoSquad another chance, right? So let's take a look at some mecha in Japan. I don't even know if that's all mecha, but it's all wonderful and awesome. However, for us Americans, and me, Josiah, as a kid, it was only relevant, as all media is, I guess, as much as I interacted with it, which was unfortunately very little, because I had very little access to it. Sometimes it's hard to remember a world pre-streaming, but it wasn't really that long ago. My older daughter, is 9. And even in her lifetime, we still very frequently watched DVDs and Blu-rays out of requirement. Now, I know a lot of people, myself included, are kind of sort of leaning back into that due to the nature of these corporate conglomerates, I won't say banding together, but overwhelming and just stacking themselves on top of each other in an evil way, that we can own that thing tangibly and be able to just watch it. But this was when we had to still watch certain things that way. About 15, 16 years ago, I worked with a developer on a project. It was a website associated with a doll toy line, and he insisted that streaming was a dream that was way off because the bandwidth couldn't handle it. Clearly, he was wrong. My point isn't to throw shade at someone I haven't seen in 10 or 15 years, but to say we weren't quite there yet. And with that, access was limited because it wasn't just all on some kind of streaming service. At the time, Netflix was just barely dipping its toes into streaming.
I can just click and I can be laying in my bed and poof, the movie's in right there.
Netflix, DVDs by mail plus movies streamed instantly to your computer or TV.
Now it's barely dipping its toes into corporate takeovers, only to have someone be even more hostile than them and take over the company that they were trying to take over.
Paramount and Warner Brothers Discovery reportedly signed an agreement today on a $110 billion deal, a merger that will make Paramount one of the largest media empires in the world.
If I knew more about Mecha, I'd probably make some kind of reference here. Those of you out there familiar with Mecha, what reference should I make? How about this one? Did that work? I have no idea. My point here is that at that time, pre-streaming and when things had to be sent to you, shown on television, things came in incremental steps. You found things through this, you read about it there. Even if it was on the internet, you read about it and had to track it down. It wasn't as easy to get things. Streaming opened the floodgates where content was much more, at least readily available, although it's kind of become a bit of a juggling act of this, that, there, and everywhere. But when I wrote the original version of the script actually a few years ago, and I just put some notes down, you could easily watch all of ExoSquad on Peacock, but that was pretty cool. But then as of like 6 months ago from now, as I record this, which is March 2026, it's not there anymore. They took it down. ExoSquad isn't streaming anywhere, so it's not really technically available anywhere. It's not even like on YouTube like Wildbrain, like Inspector Gadget and wowzers. A lot of other stuff is. It's just not there.
I hope this works.
16 years ago, the first time I attempted to watch it all the way through after initially watching it all the way through on television as it aired, probably out of order on my local station, Netflix would send you DVDs on disc through the mail. And that was only the first season. The second season was never officially released on DVD. Now, you could probably find it online, maybe on eBay or some bootleg type website that'll have both seasons, but it's never been official. I've seen it at conventions, bootlegs with both seasons, but again, never been officially released. I will say, it is out there if you know where to look.
It was a golden age for all mankind.
It's archived, and with that, if you can, archive your own copies on a hard drive somewhere, just to make sure as many of us save these things as possible. I think that it's an artifact that may disappear that we want to preserve as much as possible. Now, that's not an endorsement of piracy, but ExoSquad did prominently feature pirates in the alliance with those pirates. Kind of first it kicked off the show, not the alliance, but a battle with those pirates kicked off the show. And then an alliance with those pirates much later in the show was critical to saving the entire human race. So, hey, just you take that for what you will, everyone out there.
Now is the time.
16 years ago, ExoSquad, an American cartoon, was pretty difficult to find here in the United States. So imagine 30 years before that, trying to find a Japanese cartoon or movie here in the United States.
This is no ordinary animation. This is the exotic, bizarre, and beautiful world of Japanese anime. And this is your invitation to enter with the modern classic Akira.
That brings us back to the idea of content opening to us incrementally, in steps. We find it incrementally here and there, maybe sometimes out of order, but we find it and we see something, and then we see the next thing and the next thing here and there. And it's a journey and an adventure. And when you find something like ExoSquad that's truly gripping, truly moving, truly powerful, it hooks you and holds you for, at this point for me, my entire lifetime.
Isn't it exciting seeing a whole planet being reborn?
Marsala told me you'd be here.
There was something I had to do.
Back to that content from Japan, VHS opened up so many opportunities for things to come. For example, that's how I saw Akira, and that's something we love so much, that I love so much. I say we because we loved our dog, that we named our dog after that movie. We lost him almost 2 years ago now, so that part's hard, but he was a special dog, and it's a special movie. And I found it thanks to VHS coming across. I did watch it first on the Sci-Fi Channel, but I was then able to watch it over and over and over again thanks to VHS.
The apocalypse is about to begin. Our Sci-Fi Channel premiere feature, Akira.
And again, I apologize for mispronouncing a lot of words because of my Pittsburgh accent, especially like Japanese words.
But in Japan, many animated films are made for older audiences, very gory, very gruesome, but entertaining in its own demented way, although not like a lot of animated films are, not for children.
All that said, even as VHS brought us a lot of content from Japan and a lot of television content to VHS, such as ExoSquad, it was getting episodes brought to VHS. I had some episodes in Ninja Turtles, things like that.
For all the outrageous adventures of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on video,
it was still kind of hard to come by some of that, especially the Japanese stuff. For me, a kid from rural western Pennsylvania, north of Pittsburgh, it was hard to track these things down. Plus I had, no money as a child. Prior to VHS, we did get television versions of some things like Gigantor, and those were all an important part of this process of Japanese mecha getting Americanized and exposing audiences to it prior to ExoSquad sort of becoming, in my mind, the definitive American mecha.
it was a golden age for all mankind.
Perhaps, though, the watershed example of this was Robotech. Robotech changed the game.
What is Robotech anyway? Just more modern war machinery.
In some ways, it's kind of a strange narrative mess and an absolute wonderful miracle of a show. Because it's not one show, as many of you probably know. I was exposed to it not as a child, although I had seen some of it and knew it was out there and I knew the toys a little bit, but as a teenager, post-ExoSquad, thanks to my good friend Watson. He was like, you like ExoSquad, you will love this as well. And so it was kind of going backwards from that. Because of the American Mecha, I was like, what is this other thing? They pilot these robots that turn into jet planes and things? That was, oh wait, this was a Transformers toy? Just this crazy, convoluted and awesome twists and turns, the way all these things interconnected and weave, and the way the story was and how they built it and what Harmony Gold did. And I randomly also met a lady who, her neighbor was the guy who brought the show to the United States once, in just these weird circumstances. So there's a lot more story to tell there. And if you're interested, let me know. I would love to explore that as well. So please comment below if you're interested. And just in general, comment, like, subscribe. All that stuff helps the channel so much.
What do you know? I'm alive!
All of that is just context, because first, I hope to, and plan to, I hope you're watching, but I plan to do it anyway, explore much more ExoSquad. This video is really just a strange sort of introduction for me to put some thoughts on paper as we begin that exploration. As I do a little bit of a look on some of the things that came into my world as I found ExoSquad, before I found ExoSquad, and around the time I found ExoSquad.
And now I know there's nothing more beautiful than the sun when it breaks through the clouds of Venus.
But the reason I'm here is to ask the question, sort of quickly and concisely, I hope, and answer, why does ExoSquad work? The reason ExoSquad works as a narrative is because it takes the best Japanese mecha, and by that I mean the simple part of dudes and kind of big robots, but it kind of like takes a little bit of a Starship Troopers-ish type of thing with a smaller mecha suit and not the massive sort of things that I would think of when I think of Japanese mecha. It's a bit of a more streamlined suit, closer to Starship Troopers, but not quite as small as Starship Troopers, which I read probably around the time I had Robotech introduced to me. So it takes these different elements of these different things, which we'll explore in future videos. It takes this element of Japanese mecha, this element of American sci-fi.
Get away from her, you...
Now back to ExoSquad.
With an American storytelling aesthetic, an American 90s cartoon style, and a thorough understanding of history. Every now and again, I like to flash my credential of having a master's degree in screenwriting from USC, but I don't often mention that I also have a degree in history from USC as well. But hey, I have a degree in history from USC as well. And with that, the history in this show feels real. Qualified to say that because of my degree, I can use it to assess a cartoon. Finally using that history degree for this YouTube video. Okay, thank you, USC.
In the wild gamble of war, a momentary equilibrium had been gained. The cost had been great.
It was a kid's show that wasn't a kid's show at all. Sure, all the bright colors, the 90s haircuts, the flashing lights, all that stuff drew me in, but the story kept me engaged and kept me from changing the channel to watch Gordo on James Bond Jr.
I'll go. There's nothing left for me here.
The show felt and feels like a melding of 90s cartoon paint with a whole lot of knowledge of and reverence for American history.
In the general uncertainty of war, one fact remains certain. The enemy is always dangerous.
Then order all E-frames to converge on the Terran invaders and destroy them.
With a whole lot of 90s cartoon paint and haircuts and pouchy costumes and weird body armor and stuff, and the body stocking things that they wear under everything. It also had an amazing associated toy line with the show. I've moved most of my toy content off this channel, but there's some ExoSquad stuff on here because I do toys stuff plus associated sort of character profiles, and the toy line is just, I think, the best toy line of all time. That's also a part of it. You have an absolutely great show with amazing looking toys that have great playability.
You've just earned your place in ExoSquad.
Dad, I hope James is there too.
But all that set aside, the most powerful thing about the show, the stakes and human emotion, felt absolutely real and at the highest level.
When the tree's tall, it'll give good shade. Trees grow quickly here.
The show I liken it to the most came about a decade later, in 2001, from HBO in their golden era, Band of Brothers. The show wasn't just about the vastness of World War II, the big battles, the planning, the stuff that went into it. It wasn't just all those things, but it was about the very relatable men who fought that war.
We're all scared.
ExoSquad wasn't just about this war in space spanning our entire galaxy, battling Neo-Sapiens, aligning with space pirates, massive intergalactic fleets, multiple terraformed planets. It was about the men, women, and Neo-Sapiens who fought that war. And even the Neo-Sapiens, they all felt like real people.
Take care of Nara.